Across the globe, there are places that do more than fill a travel map. They reveal how different cultures see the world and how landscapes shape the people who live within them. In Asia, ancient traditions live side by side with cities that pulse with neon energy. Temples older than entire civilizations stand quietly beneath forests and mountains. While just a few hours away, skylines rise bold and bright into the night. Across the Pacific, a country of continents and contrasts unfolds. Here, deserts open into canyons carved by time, coasts stretch into endless horizons, and cities move with a rhythm that feels both daring and familiar, a reflection of ambition, diversity, and possibility. Further east, an old empire carries stories etched into stone and written in rivers. Villages perched on cliffs, mountains wrapped in mist gardens, palaces and crowded streets shaped by centuries of invention and change. In this land, the past and the future are never separate. They walk the same path. And then Europe, where history and beauty intertwine with effortless grace. Some places glow with art philosophy and centuries of creativity. Others bloom with lavender fields, golden vineyards, or canals that mirror palaces rising gently from the water. Here, life is not rushed. It is crafted, celebrated, and lived with intention. Today, we step into 10 destinations across these 5 countries. Places shaped by passion, memory, innovation, and landscape. Each one offers a different window into what it means to belong somewhere, to carry history forward, and to find beauty in both the familiar and the unexpected. So lean back, take a breath, and let the world open itself to you one story at a time. Tokyo, the electric pulse. From the stillness of the north, Tokyo rises like a constellation of light. A city that never truly sleeps, yet never loses its rhythm. Here the skyline stretches in every direction, crowned with towers of glass and steel. Trains hum through tunnels beneath the streets, connecting millions of lives with the precision of a heartbeat. From above, the city seems to breathe, expanding and contracting with the flow of people, cars, and time itself. Tokyo is where tradition and modernity move together in perfect balance. Ancient temples and shrines stand quietly between skyscrapers and neon districts. The fragrance of incense drifts through the same air that carries the scent of roasted coffee and fresh rain on asphalt. It is a place where history is not buried. It's layered, visible in the details of stone gates, wooden bridges, and centuries-old gardens framed by the glass reflections of the present. Every district tells a different story. Shinjuku gleams with motion streets, alive with color, sound, and speed. Ginza glows in elegant symmetry, a showcase of light and luxury. Asakusa holds the whisper of the old capital, where temple roofs and lanterns glow softly at dusk. And across the bay, Odaiba stretches into the sea, a futuristic edge of the city built on reclaimed land where the horizon feels man-made yet endless. Tokyo is not chaos, it is choreography. Every movement, every light absum, every sound feels deliberate, a living system of precision and energy. It embodies Japan's ability to transform without losing its soul. To stand in Tokyo is to feel the pulse of a nation, modern, timeless, and beautifully alive. Grand Canyon, Arizona. The Grand Canyon is the closest thing on Earth to watching time made visible. A landscape carved over millions of years, it stretches across the desert like a colossal scar painted in shades of copper, crimson, and gold. Standing at the rim, you feel the world fall away beneath you. Cliffs dropping into vast silence, shadows stretching through a labyrinth of ancient rock. The Colorado River glimmers far below, a thin ribbon of blue slicing through stone that once lay beneath ancient seas. Every sunrise awakens a new palette of colors. Every sunset cloaks the canyon in deep purple and fire-red hues. Look long enough and you begin to see movement where nothing moves, clouds racing across ridges, light sliding down walls of rock, wind painting invisible patterns into the air. Hike down into the canyon and the world changes completely. The air grows warmer, the walls close in, and the rocks shift from ochre to amber to dark, wine red. At night, the sky unfurls into a dome of stars so sharp they almost seem to ring with sound. The canyon becomes a massive bowl holding the universe. No photograph can contain its depth. No memory can fully hold its silence. The Grand Canyon is not merely a landmark. It is a reminder of how small we are and how long the Earth has been patient. Zhangjiajie National Forest Park, the stone pillars of the gods. Zhangjiajie is where the imagination meets reality and finds them the same. Thousands of sandstone columns rise straight from the ground, each crowned with trees that cling to stone like green flames. Mist drifts through the pillars, wrapping them in light, a scene so ethereal it seems painted by the clouds themselves. The air here feels ancient. Every echo, every bird call, every drop of water speaks of a time before human memory. It is said these landscapes inspired the floating mountains of Avatar. But the truth is, Zhangjiajie needs no comparison. Its beauty is not cinematic, it is sacred. Monkeys leap between cliffs. Waterfalls vanish into the fog. Sunlight pierces through in shafts that illuminate the forest floor like stained glass in a cathedral. Standing at the edge of one of its viewpoints, surrounded by stone spires rising into infinity, you feel the rare silence that only nature can create. Zhangjiajie reminds us that the earth itself is alive, sculpting, breathing, dreaming, and we are merely visitors in its temple. Provence, lavender country. Provence is the sound of cicadas in summer, the smell of lavender carried by warm breezes, and the sight of stone villages perched on sunlit hills. It is southern France at its most poetic. In July, lavender fields bloom in waves of purple, stretching across Valensole and Sceaux, glowing under the Mediterranean sky. The scent is intoxicating, calming, nostalgic, unforgettable. Villages like Gore-de-Roussillon and Lourmarin feel timeless with narrow streets carved from golden stone. Markets overflow with olives, cheeses, herbs, honey, and fresh produce. People greet each other slowly, warmly. There is no rush, not here. Provence also has a more rugged beauty. The red cliffs of Roussillon, the white limestone of the Alpilles, the winding roads through forested hills. Painters like Van Gogh and Cézanne came here for the light, a light that makes every color richer and every shadow softer. For travelers seeking peace, reflection, and sensory beauty, Provence is not just a place to visit, it is a place to feel. Kyoto, the memory of time. If Tokyo shows Japan's tomorrow, Kyoto holds its yesterdays. For over 1,000 years, emperors, monks, poets, and warriors walked these streets. Today, the city moves at a gentler pace, not slow, but deliberate. In the early hours before tourists arrive, a gardener at a Zen temple kneels to rake the gravel garden into perfect lines. A single misplaced footprint would ruin the pattern, yet his hands do not tremble. The sound of rake on stone is faint, but certain, a small act of order in a noisy world. At Kiyomizu-dera, the wooden terrace stretches out over the hillside like a balcony into space. Below the city sprawls into the distance, while behind you incense and the murmur of prayers mingle with the scent of tatami and old wood. In the shade of Higashiyama's old streets, a maiko, an apprentice geisha, hurries between appointments, white face turned toward the cobblestones, her steps tiny but firm. She carries centuries of tradition in the way she turns her head. Lifts her sleeve, pours tea. Every season rewrites Kyoto spring, drapes it in petals. Summer wraps it in green and the sound of cicadas. Autumn ignites the hills in red and amber. Winter lays a soft hush over tiled roofs and temple gates. Kyoto doesn't demand that you understand it. It only asks that you slow down long enough to feel it. Venice, the floating miracle. Venice rises from the Adriatic Sea like a dream sculpted from water. Built on wooden piles driven deep into the lagoon, it has survived floods, storms, and centuries, a city that should have disappeared, yet continues to endure with fragile grace. The Grand Canal curves through the city like a liquid boulevard lined with Gothic palaces, Byzantine facades, and Renaissance marble. Gondolas glide silently between these centuries-old structures, leaving ripples that shimmer beneath soft Venetian light. St. Mark's Square, often called the drawing room of Europe, is framed by arcades and illuminated by the golden mosaics of St. Mark's Basilica. The Doge's Palace, with its intricate arches and pink stone, reflects the power once held by the Venetian Republic, a maritime empire that ruled trade routes across the Mediterranean. Hidden among narrow canals are stone bridges, quiet courtyards, and architectural details untouched since the Middle Ages. During high tide, water covers the pavements, transforming Venice into a mirror where buildings float between reality and reflection. It is a city of delicate balance between sea and sky, elegance and decay, memory and resilience. Venice reminds the world that great beauty often exists on the edge of impossibility. New York City, New York. New York City is the world's great experiment, a place where energy becomes identity. Skyscrapers rise like modern cathedrals, each one reflecting another in a maze of steel and light. On the streets, taxis weave through crowds like blood cells in a living organism that never sleeps. Times Square pulses with neon brilliance, turning night into an electric dawn. And yet, within the chaos, New York offers unexpected stillness. The quiet corners of Central Park, the soft rustle of leaves on the High Line, the calm rhythm of the Hudson at sunrise. Walk its avenues, and every block feels like a different country. Korean markets, Dominican music, Italian bakeries, Middle Eastern cafes. The city doesn't blend cultures, it stacks them atop one another, weaving a vertical tapestry of humanity. On the Brooklyn Bridge, the skyline stretches endlessly, a silhouette of ambition against the morning fog. From the top of the Empire State Building, or One World Trade Center, the city becomes a map of possibility towers rising like thought streets, buzzing like neurons. New York doesn't simply grow, it reinvents itself daily. It is a city that demands everything from you, but gives back even more inspiration, momentum, resilience. It is not a place you visit. It is a place that rewrites you. Shanghai, the city between worlds. Shanghai rises where the river meets the sea, a city born of motion, rebuilt in every generation. Its skyline glitters like a constellation of steel and glass. But beneath that glow lies the heartbeat of a city that remembers. The Bund stands proudly on the western bank, its grand facades whispering of a century of transformation from colonial port to world metropolis. Across the water, Pudong soars upward, a forest of towers that seem to touch the clouds. Together, they form a dialogue between past and future, between what China was and what it dares to become. Yet away from the lights, Shanghai slows down. In the French concession, camphor trees shade narrow streets where the scent of coffee mingles with that of incense from hidden temples. Old men play chess in the park. A woman hangs laundry from a bamboo pole as a tram rattles softly by. Here, modernity feels human. Shanghai is not a city that chooses between old and new. It thrives on both, like the tide that rises and falls, but never stops moving. It reminds you that progress can still have a soul. Paris, City of Light. Paris is timeless. A city that lives in the world's imagination long before you ever set foot in it. And when you finally arrive, you discover that reality is even more beautiful than the myth. The Eiffel Tower rises elegantly above the Seine, glowing at night like a beacon of human craftsmanship. Notre Dame stands as a testament to centuries of devotion and artistry. The Louvre holds masterpieces from civilizations across thousands of years. But what makes Paris magical is not just its landmarks, it is the life that unfolds between them. People reading books in Luxembourg gardens. A couple sharing a quiet conversation on a balcony. Artists painting along the riverbanks. Elderly Parisians walking their dogs at sunrise. The small cafes where time seems to slow down as you sip a simple espresso. Paris rewards curiosity. Venture into Montmartre and you'll find winding streets, hidden courtyards, and views that stretch over the entire city. Explore Le Marais, and you'll discover trendy boutiques, Jewish heritage sites, and the best falafel in France. Walk along the Seine at night, and you'll understand why Paris is called the City of Light. Not just because of illumination, but because everything feels brighter, more alive. Paris is not a destination. It is a feeling, elegant, artistic, and endlessly inspiring. Rome, the eternal city. Rome stands as one of the world's most enduring civilizations, a city shaped by emperors, sculptors, philosophers, and faith. Its streets follow the same paths drawn more than 2,000 years ago. Its monuments rise like chapters of an ancient epic carved into stone. The Colosseum, with its towering arches and weathered pillars, remains the largest amphitheater ever built. Even in ruin, it radiates the ambition of a people who mastered engineering long before the modern age. Nearby, the Roman Forum spreads like an open archive. Temples, basilicas, and marble columns marking the birthplace of law, citizenship, and democracy. The Pantheon, untouched by time, holds the largest unreinforced concrete dome in history. Sunlight pours through the oculus, illuminating the vast interior, as if time itself had stepped aside to honor Rome's past. Across the Tiber River, Vatican City stands as the spiritual center of millions. St. Peter's Basilica, with its immense dome, dominates the skyline, a symbol of devotion and artistic mastery. Within its halls rests Michelangelo's Pietà and countless treasures of the Renaissance. Rome is a living contradiction. Ancient yet restless, timeless, yet constantly changing. Every fountain, every piazza, every stone facade carries the weight of history, reminding the world why this city is called eternal.